What is going on, everybody? How you doing out there? Welcome to the Real Class Podcast. This is Trailer Talk Tuesday, and today's Tuesday is all about the trailers from E3. Now, we've done a lot of homework. We've been watching a lot of trailers, and there's still some out there that we haven't seen, because I gave these guys homework. Basically, I said, all right, you got to watch all the trailers before we do this show. And then I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, Hakeem, which ones did you pick? He's like, I picked this one. I was like, when the heck did that one come out? and then, so where is this? And stuff. So there's still a lot that we haven't seen, but we're going to do some recapping and stuff like that. We're going to talk about our favorites, going to give a top 10 list, and then we'll go into individual ones as we see fit and everything. So do not be alarmed. I am without my glasses. I promise I can see for the most part.
But just don't ask him to drive.
Yeah, don't I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to you. Luckily, I don't have to go anywhere tonight. So, yeah, how you guys doing tonight?
I've been doing pretty good.
I just got off of a 12-hour shift, but I'm here. Glad to be with you guys.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming out. Yeah, we got a little bit of a late night show going on today. It's about 10 o'clock. So, yeah, this is probably going to go into probably close to midnight because you know how we are and stuff. So
late night with Trailer Talk Tuesday.
That's right. That's right. So, but it may not even matter. Depending on what time of day you guys listen to this. You might be listening to this like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, what the heck y'all talking about? So yeah, we got some decent trailers come out for E3 this year. Now, I mean, there's always decent trailers that come out for E3, but we had some decent ones come out this year, and luckily, not a lot of them are going to take like 5 years before they come out or whatever. It's not like, hey, here's Kingdom Hearts 3. Sort of.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah. This is like, hey, here's Spider-Man. And Spider-Man come out 4 years later. I'm like, well, thanks. So, but Spider-Man was really good, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm still playing it, and I hope they just continue giving me DLC or something. It's great.
Okay. Are you still have you played through the whole story or just...
I have not, due to work related reasons and timing and the new move and still getting married. Mm-hmm. My video game time has kind of slowed down a lot, but hopefully, with these new things coming out, I'll definitely make the time for them.
I got you. All right. But we have, Hakeem and I always have some gameplays going on. You're playing Jump Force currently. How's that going?
It is going.
You had some issues with it. I thought were funny, but I mean, it was not funny for you at the time. I assume because, yeah.
I was very angry. With it, especially because of you guys wasn't able to see like my very first real reacting to what was going on in certain scenes. During the cutscenes of the story, that's what I was really mad at. I had no problem starting it all over again because it was fairly quick to do so. But
right.
You guys missing, that real, that raw reaction I had in some of those scenes. That's what I was mad at. So,
I got you. Yeah. I saw that and it was so funny. You got to check out the Jump Force, the gameplay he's doing or whatever. But it was so funny when I saw it, and I was just like, you're just watching, him play along or whatever, and it doesn't show when you're watching a playlist, it doesn't show the thumbnails on YouTube or whatever. It just kind of goes through and just plays the game or whatever. And the next thing I know, dude shows up, he has a particular character that looks just like him. Pretty much, it looks just like him. I would say probably a little bit like Yusuke in a sense, but yeah. But it looks just like him. And then you're going through and it's just all right, going through, and all of a sudden this white dude shows up, blue hair, and you're like, the frick? Where'd you come from? and it was just so funny listening to him explain because he was still kind of frustrated about what happened. And he was just like, man, I was I don't even know what happened. I'm like, you don't just wake up a different skin color. And it's like, what happened? I was like, man, I don't know. Man, stuff was going down the other day. Things happen, all right? Let's just move on. Just move on.
I had to do some things I wasn't proud of.
But yeah, like the Jump Force gameplay is a lot of fun. Jump Force gameplay is a lot of fun, especially now the story is starting to really kick into gear. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, we're gonna talk about some of the trailers that have come out for E3, and there's some I want to touch on. You know, some I had some thoughts about it, but I think the biggest one that everyone's kind of talking about now is quite possibly the Cyberpunk 2077. That seems to be like the big one that everyone's like, oh snap, you know, because Keanu Reeves shows up at the end. That's not a, if you've seen the trailer and stuff like that, that's not a spoiler. You've seen it by now. But that seems to be the big thing, from E3. He did show up at E3. I thought that was kind of cool. But he did show up and, hyped up the game and stuff like that. And obviously reading from a teleprompter, but still, but still, I was like, okay, he showed up. That was cool. What did you think of Cyberpunk 2077?
It kind of reminded me of the game, what was it called? Deux X, or I don't remember how you pronounce it, like DEUXEX or something like that.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, yeah. It kind of had that feel to it, and the graphics look pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like the game itself looks pretty cool. There are certain areas where I think like they could probably do a little bit better, but I'll get into that later on. As far as how the world actually looks, and actually JoJo said something about it that really kind of resonated with me, and I said, yeah, I could see that. What are your thoughts? Your unfiltered thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077?
After watching the trailer, it definitely gave me the feel of like a futuristic Grand Theft Auto.
That's probably the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
That's probably the perfect way to put it, because like I saw it, I was kind of like, this looks cool, but it doesn't seem to look as cool as it really should.
Yeah. Like, at the beginning of the trailer, it gives you your whole like, drug / theft going on, and then, main character loses his best friend or cousin or whatever,
right?
And then you show up to the guy you're working for, and the guy you're working for thinks he kills you, and then your story starts, and most of the time it's getting back at who tried to kill you and all that good stuff. So just the same way most GTAs start out.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, you've played more GTAs than I have. I've only ever played the two that were for the PlayStation 2 long time ago, GTA 3 and GTA Vice City. But you've played, more than I have.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, but the thing that got me with the trailer that I didn't, like I said, I understand the hype with Keanu Reeves and stuff. You got John Wick in a video game. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm just John Wick or Neo, however you want to look at it and stuff. And I was looking, I was like, it doesn't look as good as it should have been, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But also, what just threw me, what didn't sell me on the game was the voice acting. When I heard it, and I'm like, this isn't. Are these practice takes? I mean, they just didn't. I'm just like, I've heard much better voice acting in much less produced video games. I've heard much better, and I'm just like I said, I was like, are you guys going with a practice take or what? Like, if I were releasing a trailer, I would have this better be the best possible take that everyone did, and it just didn't sound believable. It sounded like it sounded like they were still reading from the paper. That's the best way I can really put it, because it was just like, this doesn't sound right. It's like when you're in you've done plays and stuff, like you do a table read and stuff like that. So no one's really like 100% in the character. You're
just trying to figure out what you want it to sound like.
Exactly.
Like basically who you want to be.
Exactly, and it just didn't. It did not pull me in. Like, that was the one I was just like, it took me completely out of it. That's not to say the whole game's going to be that way. The whole game, like I said, that's just a trailer, it's a teaser. I'm not sure when this one's coming out. I think is this a 2020 game or a 2019 game? I don't really remember.
I don't either. I think 2020, but don't quote me on it.
Yeah. So I post down the comments below. Obviously we'll look it up after, but just refresh our memory on what it is or whatever. And not to say like, hey, look, if you're excited for it, then that's great. But it just like that's a reason why it just pulled me out of it. And why I say like it doesn't look as good as it should. Now I'm gonna compare this. Unfortunately, I'm gonna compare this to a $100 million movie. But the thing, like, it looks decent for a cyberpunk type futuristic feel. It looks okay, but it just doesn't look very futuristic. Like it looks like downtown Tokyo, like if you were to go there now or something. I'm just kind of like, all right, it looks fine or whatever. But like the movie, like I hate to compare it because, like I said, this was a multi-million-dollar movie that $100 million movie that they made here. But when I think of like the cyberpunk futuristic look and stuff, I mean like it's hard to beat Alita Battle Angel right at this moment. It's hard to beat that. Maybe I'm spoiled a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't compare it to like, obviously I probably shouldn't compare this to a $300 million movie or whatever, but I'm just saying like it could have that same feel, it can have that similar look and everything to it, that it could just be like, all right, it could really kind of pull you, really kind of like have that futuristic look and everything. And if I'm being honest, I'd play the hell out of a game that was, and I am not trying to appease you guys to hate it on the video. I would honestly say I would play the hell out of a game that had Alita Battle Angel in it. I'm like, I would honestly do that. And even like, in our review, I said like, maybe it would work better as a TV series. It's not to say the movies wouldn't work. I was just like, it'd probably work better as a series, but as a video game, you're out there whipping some, robot ass and everything like that. I'm just like, hey, I'm all about it. Have you seen Alita Battle?
I have not.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I stand by that. If you're mad, so what? I'm sorry. Not sorry, but I'm just like, it's okay. But there's a lot of good action sequences to enjoy in terms of like, because that Alita's a badass. Alita is a true badass when it comes to like fighting and stuff. This is not even like her full potential, like her body or whatever. This is like she's not in her what is it, her I don't even remember what the term is anymore. She's not in her body or whatever. Armor. Yeah, so it's like she has like her full potential android form or whatever that's made for battle and everything. This is just a body that somebody made for his daughter. And it's just like she's still like whipping everybody's ass and everything. So I'm just like, all right, yeah. So it would be very cool though to play that. And excuse me, I think it would be a better fit anyway. Not saying it can't work as a movie, but I think this would probably be a better fit. And like I said, excuse me, the world itself and how immersive it was. Like I said, and the game might be that way too. It's just like I didn't get that from the trailer. That was the main thing. I didn't get that from the trailer, but it was all right. It was all right. I'm not saying like it was bad in a sense. It's just like there was a lot of stuff that took me out of it. The voice acting was bad. I'm not pulling back on that. The voice acting was bad, but everything else, as far as how the trailer looked and stuff like that, I was like, it was all right. What else? Definitely got some other stuff we want to talk about here. Darksider Genesis. Have you guys seen the trailer for Darksider Genesis?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. What did you think about it?
I like the series myself.
Okay, so this is a series.
Yes. Wait, that's is.
It had the feel like it had been out before. But.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, this is the series that hits on the Four Horsemen.
I am not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Did you see this trailer?
I have not.
Okay. I saw this, and I hate to say it, but I was kind of turned off by the trailer, and there was a specific reason for it. The reason I was really turned off by this trailer was because like it has this introduction. It introduces this guy that you're looking at on screen now. He's got the the mask and everything like that, and I'm just like, okay, well, so who's this guy? And immediately he's like this snarky, trash talking, and it's like, okay, the snarky trash talking guy from outer space, and I'm like, well. Who does that remind us all of right now? It's just like, I hate to, like I said, I hate to draw comparisons, but I'm just like, we've seen this character so much now. I'm just like, oh, the snarky trash talking guy from outer space. I'm like, yeah, I know he's this guy's from Earth. And if you're listening, I'm referring to Peter Quill. But you've also got you've got Iron Man. You've got plenty of people that you can draw from. And I'm just like, I'm a little tired of this character. Just saying. And like the first few seconds I saw it and I was just kind of like, So he's snarky, he's trash talking, he's surrounded by a bunch of them. Just like, let me guess. He's going to pull out 2 guns and start shooting people. Guess what he does? So I wasn't a fan of it just because of the fact that I was just like, all right, this stuff I've seen before, and it's fine if that's what you're into and stuff, but it was just like, all right.
Yes, I am correct. That is the, I think the 3rd game in the series.
Okay.
Basically, it's based around the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Okay.
In each game, you're a different horseman.
Okay.
And I played the first 2 games, enjoyed them. They are very, very difficult games. Kind of like the...
Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls. To me, it's like, the Dark Souls feel very hard, very hard.
Okay.
Very hard.
Okay. So...
And very hard.
Like rage-inducing hard?
Yes.
Okay.
Like throw a controller through the TV hard.
Oh, wow. Wow. I have not played many games. Ironically, the only game that really gets me that mad is NASCAR games. That's the only game that I think it's just because of like the competitiveness of it. And like you get there, it's just like you're racing for points. And when somebody wrecks you, you generally get mad because you're just like, the frick, man. So you're out of the race. You've lost like, 100 some odd points. Now you're like 10th in the standings or whatever. You gotta, be first to win. And it's just like, you just get so mad.
And it's always the races that like set the pack.
Yeah.
Separate everyone from the pack.
Yep. And
when that happens, it's like you don't want to give up in the game, but at the same time, you're like, how am I going to do this?
Exactly. How do I rally back from this or whatever? Because it's not like the AI wreck and just like, oh, their day's ruined. So like, hey, their points stand. It's like, no, they're fine. So it's just like the person that's been running top 5 or top 5s or top 3s every race is still running top 5s and top 3s every race, but you're not because you're a human being. So, but yeah, that's the only games that really just piss me off because I think it's just like the competitive nature of it and knowing like every race means something. Like you have to be good in order to get in, to win and stuff. So, but I've seen people play Dark Souls. I've watched the series. I have not seen Dark Souls 3 yet, but I've watched the series, and I've seen people just they get that mad to where it just like they don't even like Let's Players have like their outro, just like, hey, if you enjoy this, like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Then they're just like the video just cut off, and just leave. I'm just like, well, damn. Like some people are nice enough to have like the text afterwards or whatever, just like, I raged, so I'll see you next episode or whatever. Or some people just cut the damn video off. They're just like, nope, done.
And I've never understood why people still post those videos.
People like them, man. People like to see people rage and get mad and stuff like that. People throw chairs and everything like that. They get viral on like Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't like to get that upset. So I try to like, keep my bearings about me when I play certain games or whatever. But like for like when I was doing the NASCAR games and stuff like that on the racing, I do it on the racing channel now. But like I'm doing that, it's like I have to do post commentary because I try not to curse so much on my channel or whatever. Try to keep it family friendly for y'all and everything. Never know, the kids might be listening or watching and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, try to keep it family friendly and everything. But man, some days I'm just like, especially on short trips, I'm just like, man, them kids. I start cursing up, especially on short tracks. God, jeez, I get mad on short tracks sometimes. But yeah, so I get it. So, I get the rage. I try not to get so mad that I'm throwing stuff. So that's the thing. Like that, I'm just like, I think in my mind, like, I still got to pay for this stuff. Yeah. It's like, I bought this. This was not cheap. I'm not going to punch my screen. I was like, I just can't do that. I can't bring myself to do that. Even though, not going to lie, there's times I've wanted to. There's times I've wanted to throw stuff. I'm just like,
It's like that was $100 piece of equipment. Let me not do that.
Yep, exactly.
I had a few of those moments with Dragon Ball Z for Connect.
Mm-hmm.
I would just run up to my TV screen. I'm like, I'm this close to the screen. Hold it.
Just like, damn it. So it's just like, see, this is why we can't be rich.
or you catch yourself with like the nose, like. It's like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Get stingy, man.
You like bro it up to it. It's like, what's going on?
Say something. I'll end you.
Oh god.
Like I've never understood that.
Oh gosh, oh man. But all right, so I might be judging a book by its cover here. I've never actually seen the other series of this. I was just kind of like, I saw this and I'm just like, I just kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, okay, you got the snarky guy in the mask or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, he's wielding guns, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before, so it might be fine. It might be fine, and especially like JoJo said, if it's going to be hard, then it's probably going to be a fairly decent game. So I will try not to judge the book by its cover, but I was not a fan of the trailer. Now one I will say that, man, I really enjoyed was the Fallen Order trailer.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong on this, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, is this the kid from Gotham? Because it looked like the guy that plays the Joker in the Gotham TV. Have you seen the Gotham TV series?
A few episodes.
Yeah, there was
but I definitely know what guy you're talking about.
Okay. And I looked at the guy, I was like in the trailer, and I'm looking for it here. There it is, Fallen Order. I'm looking for it, and I looked at the guy, I was like, it looks just like the guy that plays the Joker in Gotham. And I was like, is that the same guy? I mean, it really looks like him. It might be wrong. It might just be an actor that looks like him or whatever. But I was like, it almost sounds like him too. So I'm wondering if that's the same guy. But I saw this and I was like, okay. I was interested in the game because, you see the cutscenes and like we saw that in the trailer when during the Star Wars celebration. Whatever. You seen this trailer?
Yep.
Yeah. And I saw the gameplay for it and I was like, yep, this is going to probably join my collection here fairly shortly because, everyone's like, a lot of people have been asking for a story-driven Star Wars game, one that's actually in the canon, similar to, what was the one that was...
Force Awakens?
No, Force Unleashed.
Or yeah.
Force Unleashed.
Forgive me. Long day.
You got Force right.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
I was in the ballpark.
It's just like Star Wars Force. You can only go so wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. But I saw the actual gameplay, and like I saw like some characters in there. You got Saw Gerrera who shows up, and I was like, okay, cool. And that's a really small window. That's not what I wanted. But I was like, okay, cool. Saw Gerrera is going to be up in here, and you got. So this is basically taking place after, the Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, like right after Order 66.
Right. Yeah. So they're killing off all the Jedi, and they're just like, oh, none of the Jedi exists, and it's just like, oh. One might, there's still one left. But I saw the gameplay and I was just like, yo, this is what I was worried it might be a little bit too shooter based, like like the Battlefront games and stuff. And I'm like, I can't deal with that. I'm not a shooter. I'm just not. Like I shoot myself before I shoot anybody else. you might be trying to figure out, it's like, that's impossible. And I'm like, play a game with me. Play a game with me and you will see it's like, I don't know, I curved a bullet or something. And it's just like, bam. And next thing I'm dead. And I'm just like, nobody shot you. I'm like, I did. Don't ask. Just don't ask. I did it. This is all you got to know. So, but I was worried about it being a little bit too shooter based, but as you can see, like it's very much, it's almost, I would say, probably reminiscent of Force Unleashed in terms of how the gameplay looks. Would you agree? Have you played Force Unleashed?
I have 1 and 2.
Oh, you have 1 and 2. Okay,
yes.
Awesome. So is the gameplay similar to?
And honestly, I said that to myself. I was just like, they're basically giving us another Force Unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was like, they were still 2 really, really good games. But what sold me on this game was I was watching some gameplay, and when the stormtroopers shot a bolt, and you're able to stop your bolt, like the bolts.
Nice.
And I'm like, what? And you're like able to keep it there, and it reminded me of like the scene where Kylo Ren, like the guy shoots at Kylo Ren, and he just like freezes it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can,
and the guy, so.
And like you're able to like pick somebody up and throw them in front of the bolt, and they get hit by the bolt, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're giving us everything like
nice.
Star Wars needed in a video game.
Nice. So, but I also have to remind myself that these are the devs playing this game for the trailer and stuff, so they know how to do everything. They've been practicing with it and stuff. They programmed it to do it. So I'm just like, this might be something like, it might be like stupidly hard to do something like that. But it's still pretty awesome. I was just like, all right, this is one this might be one that Hakeem might play. Is that true?
I have played Force Unleashed before.
Okay,
it was a pretty cool game.
Okay, yeah, I actually would not have expected that. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Okay, cool. Yeah,
yeah, I'm all about the action.
Okay,
because I have played as well. I want to say one of the older Battlefront games. I want to say
not the remakes, the originals.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are pretty fun.
Okay. Yeah, I just I unfortunately haven't played any. Like Force Unleashed was going to be my first one. Like I said, I didn't want to play any of the shooter games or anything like the war games. I'm just like, no. I mean, this will be entertaining for somebody watching me play because I get to die over and over again, and you get to see the ridiculous ways in which I die. But it's just that only goes but so far, But Force Unleashed was one of the games I wanted to play. When, like I said, when they took that out of the canon, I was kind of like, I don't know. Because I was like, and I said it before, like when we were talking about Force Unleashed and how it was kind of similar to Enter the Matrix, where it's just like, all right, there's this side story that's going on. You're still in the Matrix series, but you're playing as different characters and stuff, so you feel like you're part of the story. I was like, okay, that's neat. That's neat. So I'm glad they're doing this. I was a little worried at first, but we also have another form of Star Wars coming out, and that's Lego Star Wars. And I will admit, when I saw this, my initial reaction was probably not one that you would probably expect, because you see Lego Star Wars, you're just like, oh cool, Lego Star Wars. When I saw this trailer, I was just kind of like, man, what the fuck is this? Because it just looked so silly. It looked so silly, but the thing was that the thing I kind of liked about it, and that not liked about it necessarily, it was just that I know other movies in the Lego franchise. The Lego Movie, for instance. The Lego Movie was really good.
Yeah, it won't bad at all.
Yeah, the Lego Movie was fun. And the other movie I would actually talk about also in this series is that genuinely surprised me. I expected this movie to just be kind of like, this is going to be Batman joke after Batman joke and after Batman joke, and I'm like, okay, jokes that that we tell each other, for the most part. And it was actually pretty charming, and that was Lego Batman. I did not expect that movie to be that good. It's not as good as Lego Movie, but it's actually, I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty charming movie.
It's a very entertaining movie. Yeah. Just being as a Batman fan, like seeing Bruce Wayne / Batman have like a more cornier, jokier side.
Yeah, it was. I was not expecting to like it, but I actually genuinely liked it. Did you see Lego Batman?
I have not.
Have you seen any of the Lego movies?
No.
Yeah, I don't blame you necessarily. It's not that I blame you. I was just like, looking at the trailers, I'm just kind of like, nah. I'm like, is it a commercial? Obviously. It's obviously a toy commercial, but it's actually a little bit more than that. It has some deep stories and has some good themes in it, and some clever writing. I'll say that. That's just some clever writing in both of these movies, both the Lego Batman and the Lego Movie. And I would be honest, like, I would not be surprised if they could bring that level of awareness to the Star Wars franchise, because Star Wars has been on its downfall lately and everything, and I'm just like, okay, well, what can they do here? And apparently this isn't the first Lego Star Wars games, is it?
No, it is not. They did a episode 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6, and then they put them together with little added stuff to here and there. And then I want to say they made a couple more, not 100% sure. And then I know with this one coming out, just adding the last 3 movies to it.
Right.
But all in all, in my opinion, it's a really good game to enjoy. Like if you're having a stressful day, and you don't want to destroy your $2,000 computer, it's good to get on Lego Star Wars and just go into the cantina and kill and destroy everything. Like you've got R2D2, it's like, oh hey R2, cut you in half. because the fun thing is, like, even though you destroy them, they come back.
Okay. Now, is it more in the does it have a story mode?
It does have a story mode.
Okay.
They do go through the episodes almost to a T, and every little cutscene, it's got like in episode 1, Obi-Wan was the klutzy one.
Okay.
And then like episode 2, Anakin was the klutzy one.
Okay. All right.
They have their serious character that's like, yeah, I'm the hero. And then the sidekick's like, yeah, I'm with the hero. And then he like falls into like a trash pit or something.
So it's very much in line with the comedic tone of the Lego movies.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what I was kind of hoping for. I saw it and I was just like, this better not be as stupid as it looks. But if it's anything like I said, if it's anything like the Lego Movie, like Lego Batman or whatever, I was like, yeah, I'd be interested. I don't think I would go out my way to buy it, but I'm like, oh, okay, I'd be interested to see that. I don't know. Is this something you would probably get?
Not right away. I don't think I would spend the money for it unless there was like a gold edition that had like a specific like Lego minifigure that's not going to be easy to find.
Okay.
That'd probably be the only time I'd buy it off shelf. But if that wasn't the case, I'd probably wait for it to come onto the PlayStation Store years down the road for like $10.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing about it. I don't typically buy new games. It's just like, you know, I'll see if it's good. I'll see if it's like a full game because, you know, nowadays it's like, oh, you'll get part of the game, but if you want to finish it, you gotta buy this DLC and
for $24.99.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah.
For levels 3 and 4.
Yeah, exactly.
5 coming soon.
Yeah, and I'm just like, nah. I don't mind like episodic games like, you know, the Telltale series type stuff. I'm like, that I don't mind because that you know it's episodic. You know what you're getting into when you buy it, you know. But other things, I'm just like, or you know, like you said with Battlefront and stuff like that. It's like, no, give us the whole game, give us a complete game. Don't, you know, give us something and then make us pay extra for X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm just like, no, don't do that. You know, but I'm hoping, as I said, I'm hoping that, you know, Lego Star Wars is actually going to be decent. So I'm going to get into another one that everyone's talking about first. But first, I'm going to get into another game, a game that I did not expect to come out. Now, we just watched this trailer beforehand, or JoJo just watched it beforehand. And it's the Blair Witch. The Blair Witch, you know, evil hides in the woods or whatever. So they're bringing this back. And I'm like, well, it couldn't make the movies work, so we're going to try with the video game. Maybe we'll get them with that or whatever. And
I think it's like a horror video game. I think it's going to work.
You think so?
I think so because, you know, you have people playing Resident Evil Biohazard, I think, on the VR. And that game, I think, has been out for maybe a year or two now. Mm-hmm. And you still hear people playing it and getting scared and you know, just the thrill of having, you know, the VR set on. So mm-hmm. I don't think like as a video game, like handheld, it will work.
Okay.
But if you have a VR edition, like I definitely think it'll work just because of the whole, you know, something coming out in your peripheral vision and giving you that jump scare.
Yeah, I could see that. It has the atmosphere. And if it's for VR, you know, I'm pretty sure it may have like you know, some VR. You could probably play it VR, but right now, just looking at it, I was like, man, if only this had come out like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. You know, I was just like, it's very unoriginal. It's very uninspired. It's one of those things like, once you play a first-person horror game, you know, horror survival game, you've kind of almost played them all, you know, if you really think about it, because, you know, like you're stranded out in the woods, you've got a flashlight, you know, it's just like, all right, well, we've seen this before and everything, and, you know, like when they first started the trailer up, and I was just like, oh, there's a guy with the freaking, you know, for the freaking camera, and I was like, oh, well. Here we go with Outlast vibes and everything, and I'm just like, oh, we've done this before. This is not anything new. This is not anything different. I'm just like, man, if this had only come out, like I said, like 10, 15 years ago, like when these games were really at their peak, you know, because then we were getting some intricate stuff. You know, we were getting games like say like Layers of Fear. We were getting games like. What's some other good first-person horror games? There was one that freaking Markiplier used to play. Like, he got really famous for it.
Five Nights at Freddy's?
No, not that one. No, that was the one that got him famous. But there was another one that he played. I can't remember.
Oh, you talking about the one with Slender Man?
Slender Man.
Yeah,
Slender Man
yes,
that was the
yes.
first, yeah. So, like, you had stuff like that you could do. But, you know, like I said, this was back in, you know, I wouldn't say, you know, 10 years ago. This is like, what, 2011, 2012, you know, around that time frame or whatever. So if this had come out back then I would have thought, like, yeah, this you could do something. I think the only saving grace is, like, if you said if there's a VR.
Yeah.
If there's a VR, then it's probably
Then it's probably, to me, it's going to be, I'm not going to say a top selling game, but it's going to be a game that, you know, you'll probably go to somebody's house. Like when you go to somebody's house that has a VR set, they're most likely going to have this game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is like at this point, like when you have like your first person games or whatever, it's really like, you know, like I said, unless you do something different, you know, like this one is just like, all right, you know, because even with like that Resident Evil, I think it was Resident Evil 7 when that came out, I was like, okay, that's going back to the horror element and everything. I was like, okay, that's cool. But I'm just like, this just feels like Outlast. You know, it just feels like that again. I'm just like, you know, Outlast there was another one that was like, okay, that was kind of like, it was something new, it was something fresh or whatever.
Yeah.
So Outlast 2, I was kind of like, so it's okay. It went more towards that demonic thing than the first one was more just like, you know, it was like people that were just insane, you know. But yeah, like, I'm just not. Like I said, I feel like this is past its time, and it may be one of those games like, hey, we get grouped together, whatever, and you know, sit down, play in the dark or whatever. You know, get your girlfriend to play it, something like that. Yeah. You know, I feel like Ellen would kill you if you did that. I feel like there would be no more JoJo after.
Yeah, I'd be on the couch permanently.
Have you seen you saw the Blair Witch trailer for this, right? Yeah. Did anything stand out at you?
Well, like you said earlier, it felt like Outlast to me.
Mm-hmm.
Another game I have seen other people do gameplays for, I can't remember. I want to say that Resident Evil vibe as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really played any horror games.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like if I wanted to, come out of my shell, I would go with a real horror game.
Right.
Something to get me, to jump me out of my seat type of game.
Right.
I would play a horror game.
Right. Like this one, it just, like I said, it's just very uninspired. You know, I hate to be down on it and everything, but I'm just like, it's a little bit past your time. You got this lady looking at us, I'm like, please play my game.
As you got a snot bubble for me.
Right.
Can't forget about the iconic snot bubble.
But yeah, just that was one. But the one that I wanted to touch on that everyone has been really losing their mind about, and I just can't for the life of me join them. In certain cases, I wish I could, but in a lot of cases, I just can't, man. I'm just like, yes, but no. And I don't know. I'm gonna get you guys' opinion first, and then I'll rant about it later. But I'll get you guys' opinion first. But the one I'm going to get into, or that we're going to get into now, is Final Fantasy VII, the remake. So they remade Final Fantasy VII. It's no secret. This has been talked about for years now.
Yes,
you know?
and even at the beginning of this year, you had that whole like, well, there's not exactly a release date yet. Mm-hmm. So, and then, you have the talks of the PS5 coming out. So it was talks as being one of the top ones to be exclusive for the PS5.
Yeah. So, JoJo, you played Final Fantasy VII?
It has been a while. Probably my elementary school days. Mm-hmm. But I have played it, sir.
Okay. Your thoughts on them remaking it?
I'm not really big on remakes of video games that are actually good and that don't per se need a remake. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there was a lot of fights in Final Fantasy VII that I'm like, if the graphics were just a little better and more detailed, this would put it over the top.
And I can see that, they're definitely going with the action RPG style, but they've actually tried to implement some other things, implement stuff that was like still very reminiscent of the old game, and I would say it's probably be more like, it's almost more like. Have either of you played Parasite? Oh, you've seen me play Parasite Eve, yeah. Have you ever played Parasite Eve before?
I don't think I have.
It has a similar kind of gameplay where it's like it's still turn based, but it's action involved. Like you have to dodge attacks and stuff like that. You have to move around, and then and it's just like basically this little bar that comes up. It's like, okay, when the bar gets full, that's when you're able to attack. You can do any attack you want to as long as you have the MP or the MP to do magic, or you just shoot or whatever. So, but yeah, it was like it's almost similar to that from what I see. It's just kind of like, all right, it's action RPG still, but it almost kind of like, I have Parasite Eve vibes just from looking at the actual gameplay. Have you played Final Fantasy VII, Hakeem?
I have not. I have a very, 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 very small niche when it comes to playing video games.
Okay.
And that could be due to a lot of reasons, but mainly because I never really played video games as a kid. So whenever I was able to, it was things that I was already attracted to, like anime.
Right.
So anything that was from anime or that I've seen anime shows up and it was a video game, I'm like, I want to play that. And that's the only thing I want to play.
Okay. Yeah. And I get that. Like my thing was with me growing up, at first it was fighting games. It was like, you got Street Fighter, your Mortal Kombat I was okay with, but I still liked it.
Don't forget about Tekken.
Tekken, what was the other one? Killer Instinct.
Oh, yes, Killer Instinct. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, yes. What a throwback.
It was just like, man, I loved fighting games, and then I got Zelda, and I was like, okay, Zelda's cool. I was like, okay, I had fun, playing Zelda, played like the little story thing. But I think the first one I ever played is the one that's playing on our gaming channel right now, McBlam Gaming, if you're interested. But it's Wild Arms. That was the first RPG that I ever serious story-driven RPG that I ever played. And from then I was just hooked. And then I got the Final Fantasies for the Game Boy. And then Final Fantasy VII came out and everyone was like up in arms. Like, you need to get Final Fantasy VII. You need to get Final Fantasy VII. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'll get it eventually. I mean, we broke. So we can't just we can't just go to the game store and get it or whatever. But I eventually did. But I think it was ironically right before 8 came out. But I got Final Fantasy VII, and I was just like, yeah, I definitely see what all the hype's about. Definitely, it was definitely a game that revolutionized everything in terms of gameplay, story-driven stuff and everything like that. And plus, you got that tearjerker that happens in there and everything. It's just like when that hits your heartstrings a little bit, it's like, oh, why'd you do that? And I saw this trailer when it was coming, and I heard about it. Kept hearing about it. I saw the trailer when it came, the initial trailer when it came out. Saw these new trailers that came out for E3 and everything. And I got Tifa in here doing her thing, during her fighting thing and stuff. And I was like, man, this game looks great. I don't give a shit. I just don't. And I'm just like, man, and it's like JoJo said. I'm just like, well, the story is like, what did you play the game for? Because the graphics, let's be real, the graphics were never great with Final Fantasy VII.
I actually had a lot of older friends that had it and beat it and talked about the Cloud and Sephiroth fight. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, that's what I strived for. But of course, I never got there. Because as a kid, I want to play a game very quickly, do some cool stuff, and then beat the boss at the end. Gotcha. But unfortunately, Final Fantasy, it's not that simple.
No.
And it is a lot of hours.
Yes. Very long. And you got Sephiroth in here too. Obviously he has to come back for Final Fantasy VII and everything. But I was just like, I said, I played this game. This is a classic game. And don't get me wrong, I get it. the the fighting, the action style fighting looks awesome. I would be lying if I said it didn't. It looks awesome. The people, I mean the characters, they look great. They do look great. You know, the graphics, obviously awesome, you know? But I'm just like, what did people play Final Fantasy VII for? I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but I would argue that most people played Final Fantasy VII for the story. You know, they got it, you know, because of all the hype around the, you know, commercials, stuff like that. You know, Sony was very good with that. And then they got it, and then they might have played it for, like, you know, some of the graphical stuff and everything like that, but they stuck with it for the story because, like, the graphics were never good. The graphics were never great, you know, with Final Fantasy VII. But that's not what made people stick around for it. Like, people stuck around for the story.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, man, like, people got into it. People, like I said, when that no spoilers or anything if you haven't played it, but that one character dies, people were messed up about it, man. It was like
there's people still talking about how that's like one of the saddest scenes they ever experienced in a video game.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, man. It's just like it's one of those, like, those deaths that you don't make fun of. It's like you don't make fun of Mufasa dying in Lion King, whatever. Like that is the one thing. Like, it was funny. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was elementary school, but like the Lion King was on was on video by this time and everything, and, you know, we're all watching it, and the one kid, like, had never seen it. And, you know, Mufasa, you know, that whole thing happens with Mufasa and Scar, and he's tossed off the mountain. And, you know, Simba's like, "Oh, Dad, wake up," or whatever. And the kid starts crying. You know, like, you know, kid in class starts crying or whatever. And this one jackass bully starts making fun of him or whatever. He's like, "Oh, he's crying." The whole class was like, "You shut the fuck up. You don't play. We do not. No. This is real right here, man. This is real. You don't mess with, like, look, we all cried during this scene. You don't talk smack about Mufasa dying. You know, you let this kid go through his emotions, damn it." But yeah, like, this one in Final Fantasy VII, very similar. But it's one of those things, like, it's kind of hard to can you recapture that in a remake? It's like, you know, it's going to happen. So you're like, you're emotionally prepared for it.
Yeah. You know, and that was the one thing about the new movie. Everybody's like, "Oh no, we have to go through Mufasa dying again." And I'm like, but you know that he dies, and he's a fictional character. So it's
over 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, yes, you get emotionally connected to characters.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you know, like, as a kid, yeah, you did. Like, he was the dad. He seemed like he was going to be the superhero.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, you know, he's not there. So as a kid, you know, parents explain to you, "Yeah, he died, honey." Mm-hmm. And then you just don't know how to grasp it. Mm-hmm. And then now it's just like, you know, you've got a better understanding, and you're like, okay, yeah, I know this is when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, like I said, that hit a lot of people hard. And I think what it is with this particular game, it's just, if I'm being honest, it's not for me. It's not for me. It's probably not for people like us. It's for two people. It's for the people that, you know, they know the graphics in Final Fantasy VII aren't great, and they were just like, "Man, I wish they re-release this re-release this game with updated graphics or whatever and stuff like that." It's for them. It's definitely for them because they would definitely enjoy it. They have the nostalgia for it and everything like that. So it's for those, you know, it's for those people, and it's also for the people of the newer generation, because let's be real, turn-based RPGs are kind of going away. Like, they're not really much of a thing anymore, which makes me sad. I mean, there are some that still exist. It's just like, it makes me sad that that's going away. Now, I know, like, action RPGs, like, you got to think quick on your feet and, you know, the hand-eye coordination, stuff like that. You know, like, you can get that from sports games too, but, like, you know, that's one of the things, like, you get with the action RPGs. You got to respond quick. You got to think quick and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's great. But there was something about the strategy of a of a turn-based RPG. Because with turn-based RPGs, well, yeah, you got your regular fights you don't really think much about. It's like, melee, boom, go on about your business or whatever. But you also have, but your main thing was like your bosses and your demi bosses and stuff like that you would get into. Is like you had to think like 3-4 moves ahead. This is like, all right, you had to strategize it out. And I get it. It's not for everybody. Some people are just like, turn-based is too slow. There's no intent. There's no intensity there or anything like that. And I'm just like, you haven't played them enough.
Have you played Pokemon?
As I say, you don't just get to go in there and be like Pikachu, Thunder Shock, then a quick attack, then another Thunder Shock, then a Thunderbolt, and maybe they won't have enough energy to attack us back. Like, doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was going to get at was just like, you think about like the turn-based art. There's always like an enemy just like cast sleep on the party. And it's just like, when are you going to wake up? Luck of the draw, It's just like, all right, we're just gonna sit here sleeping, or and like your enemy's completely free to attack. That's stressful, because you're just like, when they're gonna wake up and stuff like that. But I think one of the worst things, this is the worst thing for a turn-based RPGs. You go up against this boss. You have this, you're going back and forth or whatever. You're trying to feel out what he's got and everything, because most bosses you can't scan. You can't look at them and just like, use the scan or whatever spell to be able to figure out like, okay, what's their HP? What are they weak against? You just kind of figure it out and kind of go from there. Just kind of like, and there are some enemies like that too. It's like, all right, you got to kind of use common sense. It's just like, well, this is a fire-based enemy. Obviously, I'm going to use water against them, et cetera, and stuff like that. But with bosses, like, it's a luck of the draw. Just how you kind of like cast something. I'm just like, all right, let's see what this does. Oh crap, that healed them. Okay, But the worst thing is just like, all right, you got this boss. You're going back and forth and everything. It's like you're trying to figure him out, trying to figure out what he's weak against and everything. And the worst thing that could possibly happen on a turn-based RPG is the boss stops attacking, and all of a sudden you just see this text box that says, "Charging 4." You're like, the frick are you charging, man? What are you charging? Hey, and just like, it's not attacking. It just says charging 4. Next round, charging 3. You're like, what do I do? You start throwing everything at your partners and everything. You start asking them like, what the hell is he charging, man? What's he doing? You're throwing at all your items at your partners and stuff like that. He's just like, take this. It's like, which one? All of it. Take all of it. And then like, it gets down to 2. You start like, you at least this was me back in the day. It's like I start like negotiating. It's like, hey man, start charging. It's like, hey man, listen, we ain't gotta do this, man. We ain't gotta do this. You start looking at that little the option to run and realize it's grayed out. You're like, shit. Damn it.
It's like, well, charge whatever you have to charge and go ahead and get it over with.
Yeah, and it's bad. It's never good. It's never good. When it gets down to 1 and it releases whatever attack it is, the one thing is pretty much always going to guarantee to happen. 2 people are going to die, and one of them's going to be left with like 2 HP. Just like leaning over, just like, oh shit, that's all you got, But you are completely like, you're incapacitated at this point, and you don't know if the monster is going to go, the boss is going to go first the next round, or if you're going to go first. And it's never your mage that lives.
No,
it's always the guy like just got like.
It's always the healer that has like maybe one attack that'll do 20 damage.
Yep, yep. It's just like your mage is down. Like that's the one that's going to die. Like if your mage is 6,000 HP, it's like it's going to get hit for 36,000. It's like dead 6 times over. It's like you have your partner over here that's like dead or whatever, and your mage is just ash at this point. But it's like you have to use items and stuff to heal him. Like that's stressful. I'm sweating just thinking about that. That's stressful. Like with turn-based RPGs.
Yeah, and most of the times, like if you use a potion to revive one of your characters, like that is your turn.
Yep. That's it. It's just like, all right, you revive it. That's it. You better hope that you got that. It doesn't use like another big attack or something like that, whatever. But trust me, they can be very stressful. There was one boss that I fought, and it was the most monotonous thing. And I fought this thing, and it wasn't strong. It wasn't like it would hit me like, I was probably around like 4,000 HP per person at the time, somewhere around that. And it was just monotony going back and forth, hitting with lightning, whatever, because it was a water-based monster. So I'm like hitting with electricity, doing like the air attacks and stuff like that, hitting them with, with the attacks that take off the most energy and stuff like that, going through, and then I slowly started to understand. I'm like, I kept healing, because take a lot, when it would hit me, it'd take off like 300-400, nothing much. Then I started to understand, like, I've been healing a lot, I've been restoring my magic a lot, and then all of a sudden, this fight's been going on for like an hour, and all of a sudden, I'm down to like 3 potions. I'm down to like 2 things that restore my magic. I'm like, oh shoot. You just realize what the hell just happened. I'm like, this motherfucker is going to run me out of items. And sure enough, that after an hour and a half of fighting, it freaking killed me because I didn't have anything left to heal with. This thing had like so much HP that I was just like, I almost, and it was Wild Arms. I almost rage quit the game. I was just kind of like, oh my God, I am not sitting here fighting. And I'm just like, so what I had to do, I went and level grind, and then I came back and I was just like, let's try this again, shall we? Came back with more powerful spells and stuff like that. But that was great. It's just like there's stuff like that you can't do with action RPGs. It's like I said, there's stuff like you gotta think about and everything. It's like it's almost like I like the way that it makes you think. You have to think about your moves and stuff. Like I said, general enemies, no, it's just you melee, you move on. But I would say like with turn-based RPGs, man, you get so much more. It's like chess. You gotta think ahead. If you're not thinking ahead, and unless you're at like a ridiculously high level, if you're not thinking ahead, you're probably going to die, it's like,
got to make sure you're prepared. Got the right potions,
yep.
got the right items.
Yep.
Got the right, weapons, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the anime Sword Art Online. That's kind of how that game is. It's a RPG game.
Mm-hmm.
You got your different parties, so you got to make sure you're on point.
Exactly.
You go to that boss battle, because if you're not, dead.
Yep. Yep, pretty much. And it's like Dungeons and Dragons, it's all turn-based and stuff when we play. So it's like, all right, well, and it's luck of the draw. That's stressful. That's stressful. We've been in some fights where it's just like,
oh yeah, like there's been times where we'll start a game at like 6 o'clock, get into the fight at 6:30. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, it's 2 a.m. and we barely scrape by the skin of our teeth.
Yep.
I need to go find a hospital, get some stitches. It's gonna be about 2 days for Mike wakes up.
He's like dragging both of us out. So I'm
like
just,
literally arrows in the knee, like arrow in the eye, like.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that. I hate that it's kind of going away, but like I said, you still got Pokemon, so that's still always going to be turn based. But it kind of saddens me that that's going away. Like I kind of like wish they still had keep a balance of both. It's like, all right, this is still turn based and everything. You're still always going to have your turn based stuff here, but you can also have your your action RPGs and stuff. Like I said, a good balance of both is not bad. I hate that they're starting to phase that out and everything. I know, like attention spans and stuff like that. But I'm just like, man, something about just being able to think through a fight.
Yeah, I think a lot more people now like they like the free movement, and then just being able to attack and slash when they want to.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things like why I'm actually pretty happy that they aren't remaking Final Fantasy VIII. They're just re-releasing it in HD, obviously. So, and they wish I could show you guys listening a picture of it, whatever. But I saw this and I was like, wow, like this is something. I'm like, okay, all right, because obviously the game back then didn't look like this, but I would dare say it wasn't far from it. I'm like, if HD was out back then, it would have looked pretty freaking awesome. because I'm trying to find a picture here. Okay, so we got a picture here. This is an original picture from, the 1998 or something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I'm probably way off or whatever. I think it's probably like 99, 2000, probably somewhere around there or whatever. But this is from that time period.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah, at that time, like 3D models like that were like, if you had a video game like that, you were the cool kid.
Yeah, I'm like this is not bad. Like that, like for that many years ago, and I'm just like that's pretty good. That's really good. And obviously it's going to be better when it comes out. Obviously, let's say we got this picture here, and like she looks obviously like much crisper, much sharper and everything. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could, cutscenes are going to look much better and everything. But like I said, it didn't look bad back then. And 8, ironically, has always been my favorite. I know, like I said, Final Fantasy VII revolutionized gaming. But Final Fantasy VIII took it that step further. It was just like, all right, here we got this, and we did this and everything. So let's go. I mean, we didn't go to like the very next step, but like we took, we went to the very next step. We didn't go above and beyond. We just like, okay, what's the next step? What can we do? What can we improve on? And Final Fantasy VIII did that. So I know a lot of people still like it, but I think it goes unnoticed a lot next to Final Fantasy VII, and I think that's just because of the of what Final Fantasy VII brought to the to the field and everything. So that's meant. I'm not going to rant about Final Fantasy VII anymore. There was some other games I wanted to talk about real quick, and so we talked about Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. I would say the last one that I wanted to talk about, which actually is a disappointing one, and that was Shenmue. Now, if you are subscribed to the Team Chaos Gaming channel, I hope that you are. If you're not, go over there and subscribe. But I'm actually doing a gameplay over there called for Shenmue, the original one that came out for Dreamcast, just remastered for the PS4, obviously. But I've actually started that gameplay. That was another one, very revolutionary for its time. Starting the whole, well, not starting it, but like really up in the game when it came to like, quick, what do you call it? I want to say quick response, but quick time events or whatever, like you gotta press a button.
You gotta press like a sequence of buttons within like 3 seconds that pop up unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't know. It's like sometimes you'll take a hit because of it, sometimes you won't, and everything. And it was probably one of the first real action RPGs or whatever. I'm not going to say it is the first, but it was probably one of the first. But it brought something really cool to the platform. And it was just like that, Dreamcast was like, it went out of business. Sega went out of business, everything like that. Dreamcast kind of got left in the dust when PS2 came out, and Xbox and stuff. Like when that came out, it was just kind of like, they were going on DVD, and Dreamcast was still stuck on CDs and stuff like that, and still have a working Dreamcast. I still have a working one. None of the games work because CDs. You burn the ring in them, you're done. Can't do anything with them. And then if you want to buy the games again, you got to pay like $500-$600 for it, and it's like, no, I'm good. I'll make it work without it. But we have Shenmue 3 coming out. I've never played the second one. Love the first one, but I've never played the second one. Have you ever played Shenmue?
I have not. I've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a few videos here and there that people posted over time. Just like a, throwback memory. But I've never played it.
It's really good. It's really good. Is it anything like story-wise? Is it anything like really new that you haven't seen? It's basic. I will get revenge for my father plot type thing, that you see from most of the, your kung fu theater movies and stuff like that. So the only difference is this one takes place in Japan, and it deals with karate and stuff. But it's, like I said, really good. really good. The thing that disappointed me about it actually, now I'm like I said, I'm not usually a visual type person. I'm usually like, oh, okay, I can get past, the visuals for the sake of the story. And this one, I was kind of like, all right, we have all these games that are coming out. And like people are still in like the characters in the game are still kind of in the uncanny valley, like in some of the games like like the Cyberpunk game. The Cyberpunk game is a perfect example of that and everything. Excuse me. But this one, I looked at it and I was like, this looks like it was on the Dreamcast. I mean, no offense or anything. And I was just kind of like, this could look so much better. It's not very much improved. In fact, there's actually a picture. Actually, let me see if I think I downloaded it. But there's actually a picture of the original paired. Yeah, it's right here. Paired next to the update. And there's not much of a difference. And it's like, all right. They were doing this back with PS2. I'm like, you could make this look a whole lot better. A whole lot better. But I was actually disappointed. I'm just like, this looks old. This looks, like it came out back in, mid 2000s.
Yeah, as I say, the only thing I see is like, getting rid of like the pixelated details.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not with games that are coming out now and people looking so realistic. This one was just a disappointment. It was just a disappointment to see because, like, a lot of people have been waiting for this game too. So I'm just like, oh, it took all these years and stuff and to come out. And I don't know how other people are feeling about it, but it was just, looking at it, I'm just kind of like, y'all could have done so much better. So much better because, excuse me, we've got games like Kingdom Hearts 3 that come out or whatever. And I'm like, you look at that. That is a vast improvement. I don't have a picture from Kingdom Hearts 2 or anything, but like that is a vast improvement from Kingdom Hearts 2. Like even like this looks better than the Kingdom Hearts 2 cutscenes. And this is just regular gameplay, like the gameplay look. This is not a cutscene look or anything. This is the gameplay look. So I'm like, this is a vast improvement. And that's over 14 years. Shenmue came out in like I said, late 90s, early 2000s. So I'm like, you could have done better. You could have done so much better and so much more, with the characters and everything. But it's just like, you got a little lazy here or whatever. And maybe they just didn't have the money. And that's another thing. Maybe they just didn't have the money, because that's one of the problems I actually had with Jump Force. Because Jump Force was like, oh man, like the cutscenes looked amazing. They looked great. And then you get into the gameplay look and everything. I'm just like, this looks like PS3, or PS2. And I'm like, what? Why you be lazy? Like the character faces, like they don't move or anything like that. Is like, and then it's like, it's almost creepy to a certain extent because like their face doesn't move. Like their they'll be stuck in like a facial expression. Yeah. And they just talk like this. And it's like, even like despite what they're saying, just to be like, I'm really mad about this. Okay, I'm not mad anymore. I think you actually have a good point. But their face doesn't change. And I'm just like, all right. That is probably the one criticism that I have of Jump Force. I was like, oh, come on, guys. You could have done so much better by this time. Especially, I said, with all... And that's on the Xbox One. The Xbox One is like the graphics capability, from what I understand, is better than the PS4. So... Why, like I said, why do you be lazy? You can do more. Of like, this isn't the first game, obviously, right? Like they've done other jump games before. Yeah. So I'm like, you've done other jump games before. Come on, man, up the game a little bit. So yeah. But that's it. That was a quick recap of E3. We're going to take a slight break, and then we're going to go into what are our favorite moments from E3, our favorite trailers, and we'll be back, and we will talk about that with you here shortly. All right, guys, so we are back with segment number 2. We're going to go through the top 10 best trailers from, what is it called? E3? That thing that's right behind me. Yeah, we're going to go through the top 10 based on, our opinion, of course, and everything like that. Your top 10 is probably going to vary. But we're going to go through our top 10 trailers from E3, and our first one is actually going to be probably an unpopular one, but the one that we kind of all agreed on was Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And Hakeem, why were you so interested in this?
When I first saw it, I guess the main person that you're playing as, it looks kind of cute, friendly, or whatever. Has that curious nature about him, so it kind of feels like the story or the journey that he's going to go through would be kind of, the same thing. Very curious, adventurous, maybe something, very exciting is going to happen. And I just felt like, this would be, a pretty awesome game to play.
Okay, and I get that. For me, it's like this is a horrifying game because like you see some of the monsters show up in here, like this huge freaking spider, and I'm like, I'm gonna die immediately. Like the second I start playing this game, the second the monster shows up, I'm probably gonna die. But there's something about that is just kind of fun in an instance, because like it's probably not gonna be like as hard as I'm thinking it's going to be. Because like I look at it, I'm just like I'm like this little thing, and there's this huge monster. I'm like, you want me to fight that? Yeah. But it looks like it looks like it's going to be horrifyingly fun. I would say that. What about you, JoJo?
When I first saw this, it definitely reminded me of like someone taking Little Big Planet and giving it to the creator of like Spirited Away and developing like this horrific nature type game. But like I'm with Hakeem, like I'm kind of ready to see like how this curious creature is going to pan out, and seeing the different trials you got to go through, being like yay big versus like right here like this like fire breathing like worm serpent.
Yeah, like no idea. It's like I see that, I'm just like nope. Nope. But like I've seen games like this before, and they're usually, like I say, it's not as hard as it actually makes it out to be. It's hard, but it's not like, oh my god, this is absolutely impossible, you're gonna die like the first second. I just like saying die immediately. So, but I just like, it's just because of the size comparison. But that actually is like, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I know it's probably not going to be a popular one, but yeah, that's taking our number 10 spot. That's the one that we all kind of agreed on or whatever. I'm gonna start with you, Hakeem. What would take your number? We're going down number 9. So these are not really in any particular order, although like our first ones are probably going to be the ones that we want the most. But like, they're not in any particular order, like ranked best to worst or anything like that. So we're going with number 9. What are you going to pick?
My number 9 would be Spiritfarer.
Okay,
that's my number 9. And I don't know if it's the father in me, but I felt like this would be like a pretty like cool game. Like I would want my daughter to play this game. It kind of has that Adventure Time and Steven Universe vibe to it a little bit.
I was gonna say, yeah, I
was
see
like,
that.
I would probably enjoy playing this game myself. It just looks really cool. Maybe it looks like it has some type of loving aspect to it. So, and I'm like, yeah, this would be a great game.
Okay. Yeah, that'd definitely be a cool game for you and your daughter to play. I could see y'all playing together, especially when she's old enough to start playing and stuff like that. I could definitely see that.
Have her on the couch. She's like, no, just wait right there. Watch Daddy play, man. I'd be more into it.
Dad, let me do it.
Give her the controller that's not even plugged up.
Yeah, that's that's a cool pick. I would pick going down to number 8. I'm actually going to pick probably another unpopular one, but I would actually pick Minecraft Dungeons. Now, if you know anything about me and Minecraft, you know I kind of avoid these games like the plague because I know exactly how addicting these games are, and I feel like if I ever truly got into Minecraft, I would never see the light of day. Like I would legitimately turn white, and there's no sun or anything. I'd be like Joseph right here, just like completely like pale and everything like that. Eyes is all like red and stuff. I just gotta build this one last thing. And, like I am terrified of Minecraft, but here everything is already built. It just looks like a fun little thing to do. It's like Dungeons and Dragons kind of RPG kind of feel to it and everything like that. And if you do, shameless plug here, if you do want to go see the escapades of the Team Chaos group play Minecraft, they play Minecraft on Team Chaos channel. It'll be in the description down below. Shameless plug there. But that looks like something, like I said, everything's already built for you. You just have to kind of survive. And it's kind of like a kid's game. And I get that. Like, a lot of kids will probably be into this and everything like that. It just had the feel of just like one of those games you just pop in and you just have like, you're not really 100% invested in it, but you're just having fun. You're just kind of going through and doing some stuff, kind of unwinding a little bit. It's like, sometimes you need to unwind and with tanks and guns and stuff like that, shoot stuff, blow stuff up and everything like that. And sometimes I just want to pop in like a little, fun game and play. So, moving on to number 7, that would be your slot, Mr. Jojo.
Mine would be, was it Gods and Monsters?
Gods and Monsters, okay.
When I first saw the trailer, even though they didn't give you much, it definitely gave me the feel of like a Fabled / like Witcher feel.
Okay.
Like the whole adventure type, like you're like you create your own hero and you kind of like, go through this world of like fighting these different mythical beasts and kind of just, around the world getting, famously known for, defeating like a Hydra or a Griffin or something. Okay. And in Fabled, it was kind of, the same way. You fight these different monsters and different villains. And if you beat them, you get a title and you get more well known in the world. Like you'll pass a player and they're like, oh, you're the one that defeated that bandit.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I feel like that's what they're gonna do towards this game, and and hopefully I'm right, and if that's the case, then
I was actually I was getting a little bit of a slight God of War vibe when I first saw it, and like I said, there's not a lot to go off of, but I was just seeing it initially, just like hearing the whole like, like when people are in trouble they turn to the gods, when the gods are in trouble they turn to they turn to you. They turn to this person. I was just like, oh, okay. And for some reason I was getting like a slight God of War vibe. Now I know like God of War is like that's total different kind of feel and everything, like in terms of
but the same premise of like the story of using like Zeus and Hera and all that. That would definitely be cool if like you get to interact with like the gods or like choose a certain god you want to worship through the game and it gives you like certain abilities. That would be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I was hearing the narrator when it said when the gods are in trouble they turn to you, I was like, what the heck can I do? Like, the gods are in trouble.
Like, what am I supposed to do? It's like, the gods are in trouble. Like, we just fricked, man. There ain't nothing we can do for that. So.
They were like, isn't that what Hercules is for?
Right. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the number 6 slot. That would be your slot, Mr. Hakeem.
My number 6 is Tales of Arise.
Okay. Cool. I'll see if I can find that somewhere. But I know I got it here somewhere. I thought I just saw it. There it is. All right.
Yeah, I think this game is from Bandai Namco Entertainment. Right when I saw this trailer for it, it reminded me of Soul Calibur, and I wouldn't be surprised if the people or the music composer who did Soul Calibur, the Soul Calibur game, did this game, because it had that same feel to it. But what I noticed between this game and Soul Calibur, this game, I feel like the story mode is like more of an open world versus Soul Calibur. It wasn't. It was like you go to a point on the map and then you go fight that person and have a little cutscene.
Right.
This one it is more open world. You may go to like different characters and talk to them and walk. You actually go through the journey of the story mode.
Yeah. That looks actually really cool. One of the things I actually really did like was the animation style. When I saw this trailer, and I was just like, oh wow, like this is one of those like seamless blends of like 2D and 3D animation. They just do it really well, and it was actually reminded me of something like that I kind of wish that they had done better, done that seamless animation with. That was actually with Star Wars Resistance. I was like, okay, this is that blend of 2D and 3D that we've seen before. It's just like it doesn't work on here because like characters look great, all the environment looks dead, and I'm like, it's like when you have like real life characters in a CG environment, and the CG is not really there. It's kind of like you don't really buy that the characters are there, and that shouldn't happen with animation. But with this one, it just seems much more seamless and better in that regard. And I like the way they really did that. So interested to see where that actually goes. If I were to pick a number 2 game, that would actually be right here. I'm going to pick this game here. And this game is called Deathloop. And Deathloop, this game has all the feel of a Quentin Tarantino movie mixed with Edge of Tomorrow, mixed with Time Cop, and just throw in like I don't know, a little bit of like Looper in there or whatever. And I was just like, I saw this and I was just immediately intrigued, just because I'm like, all right, there's this one guy who's like trying to break the time loop. There's something going on. There's a war happening or something like that. One person's on top. One person, like one faction is on top. One faction is on the bottom. And I'm not sure who the hero is. I'm not sure if he's the good guy or I'm not sure if she's the good guy. And that's one of the intrigues of the trailer and everything. So, and I'm probably guessing that you're going to be able to play as either or. You're either going to play as the girl who's doing such and such. You're going to play as the guy who's doing, who's working for this faction or whatever. And they have to like like I said, it has that real that Looper vibe as well as Edge of Tomorrow, like with the time loops and kind of keep waking up and stuff like that. So I was really intrigued by that. And the fact that it's like, all right, one person's trying to break the time loop that's continuously occurring, and the other person's trying to make sure that the time loop. So it's almost like you got a little bit of Terminator in there as well, because you got the one that's just like, all right, the machines are trying to make sure that this happens, or make sure that this doesn't happen, and the humans are trying to make sure that this does happen. So it's like, time paradoxes and stuff. So I'm interested to see what they do with it here, and hopefully it makes more sense than Endgame. Shots fired. Hopefully it makes more sense. I hope they don't mess up the time travel thing or whatever, to where it's just like this absolutely makes no sense and I'm just here shooting things and stuff like that. I also hope that it's not too much shooter based, because that would disappoint me, because like I said, I suck at shooter games. But this looks like it's going to be fun, like a lot of action and stuff like that. So that's going to take the number 5 spot. Going on to number 4, that's your spot, Mr. Mojo Jojo.
I am looking forward to Watch Dogs Legion.
Nice. The reverse purge, as I called it.
Yes, very much so. What intrigued me about this game is that you are basically a character that recruits people within the world to kind of like form this like syndicate to go against the government.
Okay.
So like, and within the trailer it says, it could be anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning like, you've got different NPCs that you can interact with in the world. Like, this one, it's, this 60 or 70-year-old, granny, but she's like a super assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And
I thought that was fun.
And that's what I like about the game, because it literally can be anybody. Like, it could be a guy with like no legs, but like he's like he's like a stealth like sniper assassin or something. Like, and just the fact that
he likes to be be a sniper,
like, and just being able to sit there and build a squad throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what aspect I'm gonna like is that you go in as a team into a mission,
Mm-hmm.
and of course you're probably gonna lose like team members eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have to go out through the world and like build, continue to build on your team to go against the government. And I'm like, I'm not no means like anti-government or anything.
Yeah.
I just find it as a very interesting game.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's got that like that ragtag team kind of feel.
Yeah,
or whatever.
like special rogue agents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so hopefully it lives up to the hype so far.
I hope so too. Like I said, I like the whole like I said, the ragtag team kind of feel for it and everything. And it's probably going to be one of those things like I would say like that Until Dawn kind of did. It was like, okay, all these characters they're kind of the cliche characters and stuff like that. Like they're kind of on the nose, and they're not taking themselves too seriously. But all of a sudden, you start getting into the game so much, then you lose a team member. You're like, no, just like you get so attached to the characters, you don't want any of them to die or anything. So that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Moving on to number 3. That's your spot, Mr. Hakeem. What you got here?
Yes, my number 3 is the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot game.
All right.
Now I know it's it's being redundant, but
I didn't say anything yet.
I'm just gonna go ahead and clear that out. But I don't care.
And I'm wrong with that.
I mean, I know because there are some Dragon Ball games that have come out and I never, was really, excited for. Whether it been, the graphics, not really any story to it, just a fighting game. The only exception I would have for it is Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2. There wasn't really a story mode to it, but it was a pretty awesome game. This one, the reason why I have reaffirmed my excitement for this game is when I saw some of the gameplays for it.
Okay.
Goku going up against Frieza, the graphic was like super clean. It looked like a open world, full 360 degree, view type of thing going on. And what else? It kind of had that Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z game vibe to it, but a lot better.
Okay.
Graphics was done a whole lot better. There weren't any like dark lines to give you like the details of the muzzle or anything like that. No lines on it, but you can tell like it was well developed, very detailed. Like he knew what you was looking at, and I was like, yeah, I might get this game.
Okay. Yeah, I figured like when I saw this, I was just like, yeah, Hakeem's gonna be like he's gonna love this or whatever. And you've already said it, so I'm not gonna harp on it too much or whatever. But I'm just like that when I saw it. The only thing I could really see was like, oh, yep, seen this before or done this before or whatever. So, and I will probably make the judgment when the game comes out or whatever. But I would probably say I'll watch your gameplay of it and everything. But I would probably say like between the two, I'm always going to pick the Jump Force. just between the two, because it's like it's a new story, something different, something I'm not used to seeing and everything like that. And I think part of it was because, I mean, have you played through all of the Dragon Ball Z, like the Budokai series and stuff like that? Have you played through all of those? Mm-mm. That's probably why. I played through all of them and I was just like, I'm done. I think I gave him like Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and then he was like, oh, I need to get that back to you. I was like, no, you don't. It's like, I'm probably never going to play that game. But yeah.
For the record, still one of like probably my top 3 favorite games of all time.
Tenkaichi 3?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, hey, look, I will go on record and say that game is yours. You do not have to return that at any point. Like I said, I'm never going to play it.
You heard it yourself, America.
So, but yeah, what I want to see is like how open world it is. Like how involved. Like I saw the fighting and everything, and I couldn't really pin it down to anything. I couldn't pin it down to like the Rage and Blast games. I couldn't really pin it down to that. I couldn't pin it down to Jump Force. I couldn't pin it down to anything like that. So it's like it's kind of unique in its own way. It's like it has elements from these other games, but still its own like type of fighting style and everything. So that's good and everything. I just want to see the world. I want to see how open world it is. That's what I want to see. I think that's going to be the biggest appeal to me. It's just how much you're able to interact with everything and stuff like that. So,
and I think the one thing I personally want to see with this game is like when you go search for the Dragon Balls, you go search for the Dragon Balls.
Right.
Meaning that, if it's like buried in the earth or something, you have to like blast it, a certain amount of times, or like, destroy like a certain amount of rocks to find it or whatever. Like not just like, okay, Dragon Balls over here, click X button.
Right,
there it is.
Right.
Like you want you to actually search for it or do missions where you're actually it's like hard to get that Dragon Ball.
Right,
like, a dinosaur like eats it and you're having to like chase it, throughout, the world.
Right. It's like you're actually doing the stuff that Goku was actually doing, but it's just like, you realize like, hey, it wasn't that easy. Like little mini games and stuff. Like the mini games like that I actually kind of enjoyed from the very first Budokai game. Like they had like little mini stuff that you could do. They didn't really expand on it too much, and I was hoping they would kind of keep that going throughout the series, like give you a little bit more to do, but they just rather focus more on the fight, which is fine. I still enjoyed the fighting from those games and everything like that. But yeah, I want to see the world. I want to see not just the fighting and stuff like that. Fighting looks good. The graphics are clean, stuff like that. I want to see the world. I want to see like how immersive it is and everything. So moving on to number 2, and this took some time actually because I wasn't 100% on it, but just the fact that I have absolutely no idea what is going on in this game. And this game is called Ghostwire. And I don't have any clips for you guys to see just yet or anything like that. And we'll get into that later on in the segment. I'll have a clip for you from the trailer and stuff. But I saw this and I was just like, is this a game? Because I couldn't tell. Like, is this a game or is this real people? It was that clear, that that well done. I was just like, I can't tell. But this game is absolute, just like it's insane. Like the trailer is absolute insanity. And I know it's like paranormal stuff going on and everything like that. I know that's part of what's happening, but I just like it's madness kind of done in a way that it's just like, I want to play this just to figure out what the hell is happening to people. Like people are disappearing, and there's this one archer guy that pops up out of nowhere, and like there's these Raiden people that I just showed on the screen a little bit ago.
That's exactly in my mind. I was like, remind me a lot of Raiden.
But it's just like it was just whoever cut that trailer, man, kudos to you, because this could have been like a bomb in and of itself. It's gonna be like, all right, yeah, whatever. I don't understand what's happening here, and just move on. But it was cut in such a way that I was just like, man, I want to play this just to figure out what the heck's going on, because I'm that intrigued by it, and I'm a big story guy. So like, yeah, like a story, a compelling story, especially a mystery in a video game, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I'm 100% there, whatever. So I have no idea what kind of game it's gonna be. No clue. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be like an action game or whatever, if it's gonna be a mystery, if it's gonna be a horror game. I have no idea. Like I said, no idea what's going on. But for some reason, I freaking love that trailer. I'm just like, and it may be that the trailer is the height of that game's, the peak of that game's ability or whatever. I'm just like, it might be like Star Wars. It's like, damn, wish I could play that game. But that's. I'm very interested to play and see what the heck is happening. At the very least, I'm going to watch somebody play this, just because I need to know what's going on, what the hell is happening in here. These people almost need to cut movie trailers. Like, y'all need to hire them. Whoever those people are, they need to hire them and get them to do your movie trailers, because this was the way to do it. So that's going to be the number 2 spot, and we're going down to the last one. And you probably guess what that is. You probably guess, but we're going to give it over to Mr. Mojo Jojo. What is number 1?
Who you gonna call? The Avengers, baby.
I was just like, wait a minute.
Marvel Avengers. Yeah, see, I done messed all of America up on that. They're like, new Ghostbusters game?
Right?
Nah, Avengers, baby.
Yeah, I was like, well, why Avengers? Why Avengers?
Well, Marvel, back in, maybe 10 years ago, had like a set of, Marvel games. Like, they were having Marvel games come out for, each movie, but, they didn't do as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they left the games alone, played their, let their movies play out. Because, when Marvel was kind of starting up their company of, with everything we've had so far, there was definitely a lot of doubts on, are they even going to make it?
Right.
And after, 22 movies later, they're like, we made it.
Yep.
Might not have, made it on the best of note, but, ending within game, but after they realized, the movies were a big hit, they finally were able to, I guess, get together a story and push out their, video games. Because, for a long period of time, people were like, been saying like, why don't we have a Marvel video game with like the Avengers and, Spider-Man and, Insomniac, threw Spider-Man out there just to, as a, let's see what it's going to do. And everybody responded in, a positive way. Like, I don't think I've heard very many negative comments on Spider-Man. And after it did so well, they're like, well, let's push, Thor and Iron Man, and we get the Avengers.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen it. A lot of people have seen it and everything. Like, this was probably the one that one of the trailers, besides I would say Final Fantasy VII, that got the biggest audience response. Like, like I said, like like they're told to applaud and they're supposed to clap and at certain things and everything. But this one's the one, like, it felt organic. Like I said, Final Fantasy VII felt organic. This one felt organic. People were genuinely just like, yeah, they were happy to see this and everything, especially after the success of Spider-Man. So we're going to talk about this one a little bit more later, but we're going to take a quick break. Those are our top 10. Whatever your top 10 are, post them down in the comments below. We would love to know what those are. And yeah, if you got any honorable mentions, please let us know as well. And we will be back. We're going to take a short break and we'll talk about the best of E3. All right, guys. guys, so we are back with the last and final segment of today's show, all about E3. And we're going to go through a couple of, we're really going to focus on one, that's going to be Avengers A-Day, but I did want to talk a little bit about Ghostwire a little bit more and just kind of show you some clips that I was what I was talking about before. Now, actually, Hakeem had not seen it before. I just showed it to him just a few minutes ago. What did you think of Ghostwire?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it is one of those like I said, when I saw it, I was confused. I was just like, is this a game? Because I wasn't sure if snap, didn't mean to have the sound on or anything. Because I wasn't sure because of how it looked. It's like these people, these characters in the game look very, very real. The city looks very real and everything. Especially like, definitely this scene here. Where the guy's, he's cooking and everything. It's like if you look, you can definitely tell. You can definitely tell, like, you look a little bit. It's like, that's not an actual person there. But the detail in it to where, like, it fooled me. It completely fooled me. I was like, whoa, okay, this is a game, And for a while, I just thought it was like, like some independent game makers, they make games where they use actual people in the game and stuff like that. Have you seen games like that before? Yeah. So like at first I was just like, maybe it is that, like they actually use real people and in the game and stuff. And I was like, that'd be cool. Like that probably cost a heck of a lot more because you got to pay the actors and stuff like that. But granted, you got to pay actors anyway because voice acting and stuff. But this trailer is just insane. This trailer is it is just insane because it starts you off with this mystery of what's going on. It's just like people start disappearing. It's like we were joking about earlier. Just like the Thanos snap just got everybody. But then you thinking, and JoJo says it's like, this is kind of like a Rapture kind of movie or whatever. Just like people start disappearing. You got to start figuring out why and everything, and then all of a sudden things just go sideways altogether because freaking. If I can find the little clip here or whatever, but things just kind of go sideways because all of a sudden. Your boy Hawkeye just shows up out of nowhere. He just comes through and it's just like, wait, what? Just when you think you understand what's going on, I thought Hakeem said it perfectly. It's like just when you think you understand what's going on, it throws something else at you. You're like, huh? Wait, well, what does he have to do with this or whatever? And obviously, like, if you watch the whole trailer, I can't show you the whole trailer for copyright reasons, obviously, but like, if you watch the whole trailer, this character is actually most likely the main character that you're going to be playing as. And I'm guessing like there's some demonic forces involved and everything. And it's probably going to be a very trippy game. And like some of the stuff that goes on in here actually reminds me a little bit of, I would probably say the most recent is Doctor Strange, but I would say probably some Inception kind of stuff. That. Yeah, just the way like things morph and things change. Like this is probably stuff that's actually going to happen in the game and it's just going to like throw you completely for a loop. And probably scare the crap out of you. And like I said, I don't know what kind of game this is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be an RPG. I don't know if it's going to be like just an action game. I don't know if it's going to be a mystery, like with quick time events, like, something like Until Dawn was just mostly quick time events. You had some shooting in there, but not much. But I have no idea. But I'm just like, I really want to know what the hell's going on. I want to know who this person is, like in the robes and everything. Like I want to know who the guy is in the hood. I want to know who the Raiden people are and stuff that I showed you earlier. But it's like, I'm intrigued by this, and I'm intrigued enough to where, dare I say it, I'm actually may buy this opening, on release. Hopefully I have money and stuff to buy it, but like, dare I say it, like I would probably buy this on release or whatever. But description says it's definitely some paranormal stuff that's going on here and everything. But like I said, I have no idea. I've not seen it. And actually, the more I think about it, the more I kind of want to be in the dark about it. Just so I'm like, everything that comes that happens is more of a surprise. So like, like with certain games, like, you just like, there's certain movies like you stay away from, like we all stay away from Endgame because we didn't want to know anything about it. It was like, no. Anytime the trailer come on, cover your ears, close your eyes, stuff like that. I'm thinking with this game, I might just go ahead and like pre-order it so I know it's coming. But then I don't want to know anything about it. Don't want to see any commercials. Don't want to see any ads. Don't want to see any interviews. I'm good. I just want to go in blind.
And it really seems like with this game trailer, like it should be the one and only one to be released.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just give you enough of the game to intrigue you. Mm-hmm. Like, and I feel like if they give any more away, like it's just overkill.
That's true because I mean we've had a lot of movies do that as well. Yeah. Where they just like, all right, we got this one, and they start showing you a little bit too much, and it's like you kind of it's like I'm still gonna see it, but you kind of ruin certain things, So just to your. Like you were talking about Dark Phoenix earlier or whatever, it's just like, do you know who dies in that movie? Mm-hmm. Just from looking at the trailer, I guarantee you know who dies in that movie.
Mystique.
Yep. Just looking at the trailer, and I'm just like, he hasn't seen the movie yet. And I was just like, okay, perfect example. So, like you said, like this be the one and done. I'm intrigued. This is enough for me. And like I said, this has me enough to where I'm probably going to get this on opening. I keep on saying opening night. And I'm like, no, it's not opening night. On release day. I'm probably going to go ahead and get this on release day. And actually, I need to double check something because I thought it was a PS4, not a PS4 game, but like it is available for the PS4, and I'm pretty sure it is. But I need to go ahead and double check that. I looked at it earlier, but I was like, I wasn't sure. It might be like a multi-platform. And if it's multi-platform, especially Bethesda, so I'm like, yeah, it's probably multi-platform. But I want to make sure it's available for PS4 or PC. I'll play it on either one.
I was gonna say, if it's Bethesda, like you're in for a treat.
Okay.
Not many of their games have I been disappointed in.
Okay. What other games have they made?
The most popular one, Skyrim.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, and then I know we have the new Elder Scrolls to look forward to. I know they hinted at it at E3, but there wasn't much else.
Right.
Because they're still working on it because they want it to they want you to be able to play the game 10 to 15 years from now.
Okay. Gotcha.
So.
Okay. All right. So that was the madness that was Ghostwire. So let's move on to our last topic of the day, and that was Avengers A-Day. Now, I'm going to go ahead and apologize beforehand because all this time up to this show, I've been calling it Project A. So if I call it Project A, either these guys will correct me or just no, I mean A-Day. I'm not talking because I keep, for some reason, I'm thinking about Project Z from Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, no, that's not it. It's A-Day. Hakeem, you said you weren't too keen on this one. Why was that?
It was.
Oh snap! Yeah.
I don't know. It was. I haven't really seen like any actual gameplay from it, so I can't really. I don't have a real reading on it.
Okay.
And their faces kind of look like weird. Not in the sense that they don't look like the people that played the characters in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it wasn't like rendered well.
Okay.
Kind of. So and I know like this was shown on like opening or like during E3. So
right.
Yeah, they'll fix whatever they need to fix or whatever, and it'll be a lot better. But Yeah, like with the other picture with Romanoff, like her face, she looks like very pale, and it's
Almost like she's got like a manly figure to her, like a very sharp chin.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks like she's got kind of like an Adam's apple going on. It's like,
not even that. It just looks it's not finished yet. So,
yeah, and
Okay.
it's like her hair doesn't like go with her face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that would be one of the criticisms that I would hold against this is I would agree on that level, where I would say like it's, like I said, with all the games that have come out and all these people who look very realistic, like we just looked at one, we were just like those real people, you have these games that come out and it's just kind of like well, they're it's passable, but at the same time it's like, all right, come on guys, you could do better, and now I don't recall the Spider-Man movie, the Spider-Man game that came out. The only thing like I didn't like about it was I didn't like the suit. I didn't like the white spider on the suit. It looked like it was glued on as opposed to like his normal look and everything. But I mean, I was fine with that after a while. But how are the graphics in that game?
What?
Spider-Man.
They were actually really good.
Okay, better than what we actually seeing here on the Avengers.
Well, when you get to the cutscenes for Spider-Man, it gives you like, of course, it's more detailed.
Mm-hmm.
So really, we can't really go by the pictures as of right now until we actually see the gameplay.
Okay.
But one thing I'm looking forward to in this, and I've heard a lot of rumors that it's going to be co-op. It's going to be a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
That pretty much everything's going to come free with the game. That there is going to be add-ons, but they haven't specified what kind of add-ons.
Right.
But the one thing I'm looking forward to is I'm an Iron Man suit guy.
Mm-hmm.
And just throughout the trailer, there was a small tidbit of like different levels you're going to be playing, like them running across the bridge. It looked like Tony Stark was in space, but he was in a different suit. So I'm hoping that you have the ability to play as the different suits that Tony Stark has built.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's got like what, like 50 something.
Yeah.
So there a little variety would be nice or whatever. Because I don't think in any of the Ultimate Alliance games like you had the ability to change a suit or anything like that, which is always the same suit. It's either him or War Machine, and you have the same look. Only certain specific characters like you could actually change how they looked, if I remember correctly. I know Captain America was one of them. You could change how he looked, especially in Ultimate Alliance 2.
Yeah.
He could have the ultimate Captain America look, or he'd have the classic look from like his old comics and stuff. Let's see. There was something else that I wanted to kind of get into. She looks, I would say, actually, she looks a little bit better here, like than she does in the picture. But the other thing I wanted to get at is like I didn't mind the fullness of the chin because I think I haven't heard her voice much. She sounds more like because Scarlett Johansson doesn't try to do a Russian accent. She's just like, and my name's Romanoff. I am Russian, but I'm American as well. And she has that same kind of voice to her or whatever. And it was almost like I saw it and I was like, I kind of wish you had the Russian accent. Yeah, that's just a personal preference or whatever. But one thing I did want to kind of to talk about was I did like the fact that they didn't make them look like they have some of the likeness of like the Avengers from the movies. They have some likeness to them, but they made them look like their own characters, and I really appreciated that. That was one thing I was like, okay, because I remember someone, I think it was actually one of our subscribers, Angel, who mentioned it. And he's like, do they always have to look like why do they have to look like the characters from the movies? Is like, all right, we already know the characters from the movies. I forget what game he was playing or what cartoon he was referring to, whatever. He was like, why do they have to look like them? It's like they have them from the movies. This is the cartoon. This is a different thing, I don't want to be tying those two together and everything like that, and because they're not tied together, they're completely separate. So I kind of like the fact that they went with a different look, and just like there's some likeness to it. It's like, okay, obviously the Bruce Banner back here, he kind of somewhat kind of favors Mark Ruffalo a little bit. You could probably
and I feel like the Hulk's very on point.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people will feel about it, but I love Captain America's armor.
Excuse me. Yes.
He looks like a soldier.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the first thing I commented on. They're like, I've had people like, why is Iron Man's suit so bulky? And I was like, well, you got to think like he's still, even though he's a complete badass, like he's not immortal.
Right.
Like he could still get shot like me and you and die. He just happens to be able to have super strength.
Right. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm assuming you meant Captain America.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You got to forgive me. Getting tired. It's pushing 24 hours being up.
Yeah, it's getting kind of late, but yeah, exactly. He can get shot and die. He has gotten shot and died before. So, and I know like Hakeem, you weren't too much of a fan. It was like you got the movie versions of them kind of stuck in your head a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never really played the Marvel games all that much, so I wasn't, I guess I want to say adaptable, versatile, seeing different faces. Because with Marvel, I watched the movies first. That's how I was, first introduced to the whole comic book world with the movies instead of the games first.
I gotcha.
So seeing their faces is like it's like they tried to put like some likeness to them, but not really, and it made it kind of weird. So
I can understand that. I could understand that. Like, whereas it's kind of like, it's like you said, there's the likeness is almost there, but it's not 100%. So it's just kind of like, it's the uncanny valley type thing. And I can definitely understand that. Especially, like I said, the rendering is not great per se. Like I said, they're very shiny. They're still like I said, they look kind of unfinished to a certain degree.
Banner kind of looks like Billy from Power Rangers. Tony looks like a Rocky.
Snap! He does look like Sylvester Stallone. like Sylvester Stallone from what's that movie? Was it Get Shorty? Whatever. When he was rocking the goatee. He also had it. Was it the Expendables too?
Yeah,
he had it there. And he's like rocking a goatee. He's talking about it was like, who would play the Avengers back in the 90s? But I mean, other than that, I'm interested to see a game where and JoJo hit on this earlier when we were talking about it off camera, but interested to see a game where like you get to, it's kind of like it's a mix between like the fighting from Spider-Man and stuff like that, but also like you have multiple groups and you have multiple people in there. You're playing with the Avengers like in Ultimate Alliance, and I've always wanted it's like, man, I want an Ultimate Alliance game, but better. Better fighting, better. I'm not just top down looking at them. It's more immersive and everything. It's like you said, 360 looking around and stuff like that, and more interactive. I would hope that this game would give that to us. We haven't seen any gameplay necessarily. Obviously, all of everything that we've seen is more of a cutscene and everything. And most of the stuff that's going on now is this is all. The game itself looks like it's more taking place in the future than it is in the present day,
Yeah.
because present day, this is A Day, okay, and then they have the big attack, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, well, this is when everything went to hell. So it's like, okay, well, how did everything go to hell? So I'd be interested to know about that story, that storyline, and why things went the way they did. But also just a game where, like, you know, got a group. You got all the Avengers. Like I said, you're playing with probably everybody, probably but Captain America, probably till the end or something like that.
Yeah,
But
or you know, they could be introducing Secret Wars or something.
that's true. That's
you know,
true.
Good way to hide Captain America and let him have an alibi. I was dead.
But yeah, there's just I don't know. It's just like the more you guys pointed that out to me, it's just like, you know, the more I look at it, I'm just like, they don't look good per se, but they don't look terrible.
Yeah, like just a few minor improvements. And,
Yeah, and I don't even know if we'll get that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it just, you know, I hate to keep going back to it, but it's like, you know, we saw Kingdom Hearts. We saw what that would look like, 5-6 years before it came out or whatever. And we saw how, like, detailed that was with the graphics and everything. And it was just like, we saw that, but we saw that a long time ago. And they hadn't improved on it much, but they didn't have to, because it already looked great. So I don't know what they're going to do with A Day. And there's been memes going around with A Day. What do you know anything about those? Like, what is actually going on with that?
I know that it's basically what it boils down to is they like how the actors look compared to what people, you know, what they've got them looking like in the game.
Okay.
So, you know, that's one of the major things that people are displeased with this video game.
Okay.
Is they don't look like the original actors. But at the same time, like how I like to view it, it's, you know, you have your your regular comic books. And I kind of went, and I'm very guilty of this early on in the movies. I'm like, this didn't happen in the comic book. Why are they doing it like this when this happened? But then after a while, I, understood that, the movies are its own comic book.
Exactly.
And it has its own story to tell. And that's why I'm not, harping on the fact the way they look. Like, what I'm going to harp on is, how well the story is going to be, like what all do we get to do in the story of Avengers? Because like I said, it's its own comic book as well.
Yeah, its own universe, and that's a hard separation for some people to make sometimes. I mean, there's people still out there that's just like, man, they're not keeping true to, like, the source material as close as they should be and everything. And I'm just like, well, it's always like, you got to figure it's always somebody's interpretation of it and everything. So I'm like, hey, look, like, they can tell the story. You can tell a story however you want to. So I'm just like, hey, we're going there, like, you're going there to see somebody's interpretation of the story and let it ride from there. So, and sometimes that has worked out great, sometimes not so much, but it just depends. And the other thing I'm kind of happy for is, like, I'm happy for a game that's, because we're getting Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, but that's for the Switch.
Nintendo Switch, yeah.
And so far, there's been 3 games that I'm like, that I would play on the Switch. That's not enough for me to buy the system.
Yeah.
Just when PS2 came out, there was like 6-7 games. I could only afford 3 at the time, but I'm just like, there's like 6-7 games I wanted to play, and I'm just like, oh, I want to play this. I want to play this. I want to play this. It was warranted for me buying the Switch. And I know the Switch has a lot of fun games, like your Smash Brothers, stuff like that. There's new characters added. There's plenty of new characters. Banjo-Kazooie's been added to the
I saw that.
Yeah, like was it somebody from Castlevania? Or is that the name of it? The game?
Yes, Castlevania, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like somebody from there has been added onto it. There's always new characters being added and stuff like that, but I'm just like, all right, well, there's Smash Brothers, there's the new Zelda game that's coming out. I was like, okay, and then there's I was like, I'm not really going to be into Mario Kart all that much because Mario Kart doesn't change that much. Let's be real. It's like the Mario Kart that you played on Mario 64 is the same Mario Kart that you play now. It's better graphics. So, so like you play one Mario Kart, you play them all. It's always fun to play with people, but it's just like, do I have to get it? You know. So it's just, I'm glad that it's coming out. This is coming out, and it's for, you know, multi-platform and everything, you know, as Xbox or PS4 or PC. I'm like, okay, I'm glad this is coming out because I'm not willing to buy a Nintendo Switch for Ultimate Alliance 3. I'm just like, nah, nah, that's just not going to happen. So, but I don't know. I will wait to hear your feedback, sir. I will wait because you bought Spider-Man. You were the person I was asking about with Spider-Man the most and everything. And I was just like, oh, how is it and everything. And I still plan to get it sometime. It's just like, you know, the games cost money, man. But this one I will probably wait to hear your feedback. And if you're digging it, like, you know, first, you know, 3-4 hours into the gameplay and everything like that, then I'll probably go ahead and add it to the list and get it. And do you know if this is taking place in the same universe as Spider-Man?
From what I've read, yes.
Okay.
That the video games are supposed to have a connected universe.
Okay.
So, but I guess, you know, we're just gonna have to wait and see until this one comes out.
Okay. Okay. All right. What do you think, Hakeem? Is this a game that you're willing to get, or you're just gonna be like, oh, watch somebody play it?
Yeah, it would be fun to watch somebody play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, just like when Spider-Man 4 came out, I watched a couple people play it, and I was like, this looks pretty good.
mm-hmm.
I would like it was tempting for me to go buy it. I was like, I don't have a PS4. So.
Right. Yeah, because it was a PS4 exclusive. Is this coming out this is multi-platform, isn't it?
Yes, I do believe it's multi-platform, but don't quote me on it.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, if it's it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. It might be Marvel, might just be strictly sticking to PS4 and what's the other one? Nintendo, but I don't know. But like I said, I will wait for your feedback on it. And like I said, if you're digging it, I'll probably add it to the list. And maybe if things are going well by then, like maybe we can just go ahead and like, hey, we'll get you to do a gameplay. We gotta get you to do one because we're both doing one, so we gotta get you to do one. let you see how it feels. I would say this: you are very fortunate that it didn't happen to you at the end. At the end, that's because that's when it happened to me with Kingdom Hearts 2. It's just like, all right, I recorded a bunch or whatever, and then like freaking computer died on me, and like all 2.5 hours of footage, done, gone. And I was at the end of the game, so it wasn't like I could just be like, oh, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna be happy about it, but I can start over and just kind of run through it and get there again or whatever. So he was fortunate enough to where like, okay, he was on like, you were on chapter 4 and you had to just get to chapter 4 again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you were fortunate enough for that. You weren't like at chapter 8. In chapter 8, I think that would have just been, we wouldn't have saw any more Jump Force after that.
Even with that happening, redoing the whole chapter 3 to get back to chapter 4, I was like at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about that video. Just go to the next one and explain it all there. And I was like, I can go back and do it. So yeah, if that happened, yeah, you wouldn't get no more Jump Force. Come back with another video with just my old Jump Force gameplays and just tell y'all what happened.
Yep. So if it's in the cards and it works out, we'll probably get you to do a gameplay.
All right, sounds like fun.
Yeah, it can be a lot of fun. And it can be frustrating. So sometimes, especially when stuff fails on you, or equipment fails, whatever. Or you can do like the whole forget to press record. When I was first starting out, I did that a couple times. Or I forgot to press record. I was like, shoot, reboot, start over again, and everything. Just pretend like everything's fine. So, but yeah, we'll probably get you to, like I said, cars play out right. We'll get you to do that. So. But yeah, that's it, guys. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and call it for the night. It is 1 a.m. Past all of our bedtimes.
3 hours short of being up for 24 hours.
Whew, man, I've been there and I don't envy that.
And I apologize to anyone that watches this video and sees me half asleep.
No, I mean like Hakeem and I had red eyes in the last video. It was funny. Like he said it was like you're gonna have to put a disclaimer out, and make sure like people think we're high or something like that. Because it's like allergies got to us so bad for some reason. It was like his eyes started itching or whatever, and then like 10 minutes later, I'm like. I'm like doing the video with my eyes closed and stuff like that. I'm just like, what is going on? Why are my eyes burning so dang bad? So it was bad because I'm like, I dusted like 2 days ago. So I'm like, I know it's not dust. So what the hell's going on? So then we went outside. We saw like the banisters are covered in pollen, and was like, oh, okay.
That's the North Carolina life.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and call it. So we can get some sleep, especially JoJo. JoJo's probably gonna sleep for like 2 days,
and had to go back to work.
Right? Wake up just in time, and everything. So, but yeah, thank you guys for joining as always. Thank you, Hakeem. Thank you, Mr. Mojo. Hope you enjoyed the E3 recap, top 10, all that stuff. It was awesome. Excited for next year, excited for a lot of these games to come out and everything, excited to start playing some new games and stuff. So as always, it is always fun when these events start happening. So the next time we're going to get together is going to be for Comic-Con. So we got like the video game trailers, and now we're going to have all like the movie trailers that are going to be coming out and stuff. And that's probably because Marvel still hasn't revealed Phase 4 yet, right?
I don't think so because
officially,
I think they just said that Far From Home ends Phase 3.
Yeah. So I feel like if they're gonna do it at any point in time, it's gonna be at Comic-Con. So that'll be like the opportune time to do it. So that'll probably be the next time we get together. That'll be like around the July time frame or whatever. That's when they have San Diego Comic-Con, reveal all the trailers there. But until then, I said you're gonna have to catch us later. Catch us on The Immortal Nerd 2. Catch him on his YouTube channel. You're going to have to catch us on McBlam Entertainment on the website or on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on the social media. All those links will be in the description down below. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that good stuff. And thank you guys for tuning into The Real Cast on McBlam Entertainment. We try to bring a little bit of enjoyment to your day every day, and we appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys watching. Appreciate all you guys who subscribe. And whatever time that you're listening to this, morning, noon, or night, have a good day, have a good evening, have a good morning. And we will see you in the next one.